This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all the crazy things that this guy seems to step on. You know what day it is? It's Fiverr Friday. That's right. It is the last day of April 30th. We're so close. May is tomorrow. I can't believe it's already May. It's wild, right? We're already in almost halfway through the second quarter. I've got my hat. I've got my Fiverr Friday cup, so we are all set to begin. It's great to have you guys. If you're brand new here, you're just stopping by, just find this place, or if you haven't done so yet, take a quick moment, hit that like, subscribe button down below, hit the bell notification. I really would appreciate it. Thank you very much. Also, there is a little called Super Chat, and during these Friday sessions it helps a whole lot. So there's on YouTube there is a little money sign. You can always donate a Super Chat to the channel, and it helps me keep going and delivering this wonderful stuff to you today. I want to get into, now that we got all that out of the way, I want to get into the talk today about gig images and the new gig image templates that Fiverr has rolled out. Now, for starters, I'm not sure, honestly, I'm not sure if everyone has gotten access to this. And from what I can see, it might be in beta and it might be just for a few sections. Also, I noticed that, and I'm going to go over with you, I'm going to show you what Fiverr sent me. We're going to go through it, talk about it. I cannot send this to you if you did not receive it. I'm not licensed by Fiverr to do any of that. I don't work for Fiverr. I'm just doing, this is on my own, and this is me sharing information with you. So, I can't send these things to you if you did not get them. But I did want to show you in case you did get them or what's coming up to see how it goes. Now, as you know, your gig images, your thumbnails, right? They are part of, they've become such a vital part of my training when it comes to helping you grow your Fiverr business. And it's paramount that you have an excellent thumbnail, right? That you have really professional pictures, but that your thumbnail exudes that professionalism, because when people are coming, they're having to make a split decision whether or not to stop, look at you, click on you. And the very first thing, well, of course, we know the first thing is being found. But the second thing is, before they click on you, that your thumbnail, that gig image that you have, has to be it's got to be great. So Fiverr has been doing a lot of research recently, talking to, I know, for example, I've spoken with a lot of different people, advertising people, HR people, PR people, at Fiverr, people in different locations. Other voice actors that I know have been talking to Fiverr, and Fiverr's just been asking a lot of questions about, hey, how can we make things better? What can we do to help, bring about more business? And what do you need? So I'm assuming that this gig image templates, so Fiverr has created gig image templates, might have come out of that. And it looks like what they've done is they've gone to design artists on Fiverr, and they've asked them to create a variety of different templates. And what they sent me, I'm going to show you in just a second, was in PowerPoint format, so that I could, insert my own things and then download those images and use them myself. But they are geared solely for the things that I have done. So that's interesting to me, because I don't know if it's not like it's a blank PowerPoint full of pictures and images that is for everyone, like, all of different offerings on Fiverr. It's not. It's geared towards the specific offerings that I either have right now on my account or what I've had in the past. There's some business things and stuff I have in here because I ran that Fiverr gig review. If you know, I do Fiverr gig reviews. I was on Fiverr doing those, but I kept getting people wanting to do reviews for their products and not reviews for their gigs on Fiverr. So I moved it to my website off of Fiverr. So I was in the business section though with that for a period of time. So I also have business templates in here as well. But it's interesting. It's just interesting. Or it might be that the templates they sent me, and I'm going to show you these in a second, are literally just for or just the templates they have. And it just happens to be voiceover is one of them. You know what I mean? It might only be a certain section that they sent me that are available with these gig images, and they might be seeing how they are. Originally, I received an email, but as I went to the email that came to me, particularly when I went to download the templates, it kept giving me an error sign. So that didn't work out very well on the email. I don't know if that happened to anybody else, but that's what happened to me. But then I got the message through Fiverr that I got these gig image templates. So let's go ahead and I'm going to flip over here so that you can see the templates. So I got a PowerPoint from Fiverr, and they sent it back to me in the messages. So I went ahead and downloaded it, and I wanted to give you a peek of what it looks like. So the first three things here, they talk about the guidelines, the terms of use, what it is, what you're expected to do, what it's about. And we know a lot of these things already, just about like the percentages of, your text shouldn't take more than 20%. We teach on that. And they do talk about the terms of use, that you have the rights to use this, but you don't have any rights to resell it or, anything like that. Of course, it's just for your personal use. And here is, I think, a look at some of the way that some of them are set up. We're going to go through each one, and each one of these are actually listed by the creator. And I'm assuming I haven't had time, I'm assuming these people are on Fiverr, right? But they're Fiverr, and then they have a list, a number of creating until they get to another creator. So, now I will say this is, by the way, this is the one of the way the templates look. I'm going to go to a voiceover one. Here's a voiceover template. All right. And one thing I wanted to say though is that I know, and as a part of a VO's Journey Elite, our group, one of the things that we do, we have a lot of people in there who have, they're not just fantastic voice artists, right? But we all of us have different talents too. And I've got one guy in there who's very good at making thumbnails, and he does a lot of thumbnails for a lot of us in the group. And, just like the logo maker that Fiverr created, do you know what I mean? This does make me think that people who are doing logo or gig images and things could possibly affect their business if Fiverr rolls this out a lot more. Does that make sense? So I think this is something that is important to note there. I do like the kind of cool layout of this. So basically what Fiverr's done is they have added this type of, everything in here is part of a PowerPoint, so it's movable, right? So like here is a filter, right, that they put over this. And I can always go Command Z. This is a replaceable picture and a movable one. So like I can put my picture in here. Now, of course, that means I do need a transparent picture that I can put in here of myself, but that's a picture of myself that you could put in. You could get rid of that and just use the back, right? And like, for example, come in here and change this picture in the back. All right, and put a picture of put a picture of you in your studio here as well. Okay, and then go ahead. You can move all this around, and you can take this filter. And of course, if you know anything about PowerPoint, of course, you can use a lot of the different. I think actually, I probably move this. Actually, needs to go up a little bit more, I think. I guess it really doesn't matter, does it? Because we're just using this for purposes right now of learning. But the point is that you can also put a logo here. This is one of them. I mean, I actually think it's kind of a cool layout. You know what I mean? It's not bad at all. And what you do is you come in here, like I can come in here and change the words. I could put, for example, I could put, male voiceover. You know what I mean? And I could put my name, there's, you know what I mean? And what I love about it though, and this is what I think is because it's hard to get across to people a lot of times, what the layout should look like when it comes to the words themselves, and then how much should be your pictures, what kind of pictures, etc. So I do think that this is kind of, actually I think it's really cool how they've done that. And, you know, as I go through here, see, I do mixing and mastering on Fiverr as well. So this is kind of really cool thing. You know, you get your picture in here. Now, I do think that they give you kind of like an idea of what a cool layout picture of yourself would be. You know what I mean? But you could put any picture in there, right? So, you know, now I do think that actually be used for, maybe this might be all the templates that are created, but I noticed that, like, here's another mixing and mastering one. And there's like, I know there's multiple, here's another voiceover one. Do you know what I mean? I do like the colors here. I think that's kind of cool. Image, your logo, another beat maker, music producer. That's cool. But see, I will say this. It is neat, okay, that, like, for example, that, you know, Fiverr, like, and they use, it's really nice, they use these filters, which is really cool. It is neat, but I do want to say that, you know, you need these types of pictures, right? Like, if you're going to replace, now you might not replace yourself with this. This might be just something, and it's kind of cool they didn't show a face, and then you put your face up here, even though this says logo. But this kind of does show that, like, this is the idea of this shot. Do you know what I mean? Of you taking something or having something like this. You might, you know, a lot of us don't have something that looks like this. Do you know what I mean? So it can be difficult, although you don't need it. They've offered it to you in this way, and it doesn't show a face. So that's kind of cool. And this does say logo, but you could put your picture here. But I do think that's interesting. I do like this. They've got MP3 files, high quality. I think that this is, I like the layout. I know I've heard other people saying they're not sure about the layout, etc. But I think I actually like it. Professional translations. And I'll tell you why, because it is different. It is different. Now, I do think that, like, for example, the gentleman in our group, I think he makes dynamic thumbnails, and I think they look just as good or better than these two. But these are a lot of different types of thumbnails at your fingertips, and, you know, they're free. And I think that's another challenge for the people who are trying to make this work. But just like anything else, right? Like, these are just templates. They can become a variety of different things. Okay, so this is kind of cool. You know what I mean? It's got a different setup here. I like, what I like about these, though, is there's different uses of shapes and things, so that it gives it it's nicer to look at. You know what I mean? And I do like this too, because this is nice in the sense that you don't have to put your picture on it, but yet there is a nice size picture to it. You know, and you know all these were vetted by, this is actually kind of interesting. I don't know exactly if that's how they want it or whatever, but it definitely is interesting. Yeah. So anyways, it has a whole bunch of these templates. And I think it's interesting. I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not even looking at the comments right now. So I don't know how many of you got this, how many of you didn't get it. And I don't know if they're in any other languages. Like, all I know is basically what they sent me. And, you know, so that's something that, and it seems like it's like mixing and mastering, voiceover, beat making, social media ads. It looks like there's grammar and syntax review, content writing, translations, articles and blog posts, mixing and mastering. I actually think that's actually pretty clever. Proofreading, and then they click that out. SEO. And then, of course, here's another voiceover one on the back end. So, you know, I mean, and here's the thing, you could, everything on here, right, since it's PowerPoint, I mean, you can change the images, you can look at the layout, and, you know, I do think what I like most about this, actually, in these, is that they're giving you ideas for interesting layouts. Do you know what I mean? That kind of really gives some nice looking pictures that, you know, it might be difficult for us to come up with as we go through our journey on Fiverr. All right, so what I want to do now is I'm going to go ahead and flip back over, pull up my my list here of people who have joined. So if you are now here and you have questions, comments, go ahead and post them into the chat. See what I can answer them. If you have questions about the templates, I'd love to know if you got templates yourself. If you got these yourself, if you haven't seen them yet, this is your first time, but maybe you have. But let's go ahead and take a look. We've got Bill. What's up, Bill, from YouTube? Good to have you, my man. We got Scott. Great to have you, sir. Grant, what's up? Happy almost May. That's right. Sean, good morning, my friend. Good to have you. Voiceover Angela, happy Fiverr Friday. Hello, Angela. Good to have you. Ruthie from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Hey, Ruthie. I remember what was the last time you said it was chilly? I wonder if it's chilly today. Sean, what's up? I received the same email, downloaded it, but I don't care for any of the templates myself. Totally cool. Totally cool. I think, like, for me, I will say this, and this is something that I wanna say about Fiverr. I am very impressed with them taking a step like this, right? Because I've always said the more of us that are successful on Fiverr, right, it's going to bring all of us even more success. Right? If there's more successful people on Fiverr, it brings more success, because the better the name Fiverr continues to get, the better success we get on Fiverr, the more business is going to want to come there, and the more business is going to be for all of us, the higher paying business and all this stuff like this. I'm not a big advocate for, don't tell anybody the secrets. That's a very, I think, scarcity type of mindset where, I feel I'm a very abundance type of mindset where there's so much work for all of us in this world, right? But the better we all are, I think the better it makes all of us look. Okay, in which case it just breeds more and more business and stuff. So I do like the fact that Fiverr just sent out blanket stuff for free to a whole bunch of people. I mean, I think that's pretty amazing. I've never gotten that from anyone else, from any other platform. Okay, literally if you think about it, like if you were to put a value on that, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's a decent amount of value too that they sent there. Again, I'm not sitting here getting paid by Fiverr to tell you guys this. I just think it's pretty cool that they did that. It makes me think, why didn't I think of that? This is for the people who are part of a VO's journey, you know what I mean, in our opinion, because I think this is something that we always hound about is template or your gig image and stuff like that. So, but what I didn't see in there, and I think that's important to say too, is I didn't see any of them that was really like all up in your face, like mine. Like my gig image is like literally just a headshot. And I think that's something too that you don't get. And I will point out, let's be fair here. I will point out that from a headshot standpoint, like as a performer, none of these meet that criteria. Right. And what I mean by that is normal headshots. What we do as performers is we get that headshot. Now we're voice actors, right? But that headshot, I think for me, it's worked great for me. Like my gig image has worked great for me. It's worked phenomenal. And there's nothing like that on here. So what I'm trying to say to you is that you don't need these to be successful on Fiverr and to have a great gig image. And you might already have great gig images and you don't want to change them, in which case don't. But it's always worth a shot. And on top of that, we don't know if these were like, if these were like put through Fiverr, like a review team that looked at them too and said, hey, what's going on with that? And did you say it won't let you send money today? That's not fun. Phooey. A super chat isn't working? Oh, I don't know if it's a super chat. Well, thank you very much for trying, Gary. I appreciate it, my friend. But I think that the thing with me is that at least it's something, but it doesn't have to be, what you use in general. But anyways, I thought that was pretty cool. Let's see. Jeremy says, happy Fiverr Friday. What's up, Larry? Good to have you from Facebook. I used it already. Sweet. Tom, yeah, see, I didn't know how many people actually got it. So, I'm not sure if all voice actors got it or not. Like, if I was them, like Fiverr, I would have sent it to I would have sent it to everybody, because the people who really need it, right, are a lot of either people just starting out, or they don't have coaching, they're not a part of a VO's journey, they don't, they're not aware of, how much effort we are putting into looking professional and stuff in our images. Let's see, Anthony, what's up? Great name. Yes, I did get templates. Cool. Alden says, happy Friday. Hope your Aprils were awesome. Yeah, speaking of April, it is the 30th, so we are at the end. And, in a VO's Journey Facebook group, we do something cool at the end of every Thursday, at the end of every month, we post our earnings. All right. And I think that's a really neat thing that we do. It's transparent. It keeps people also knowing what's possible. Helps, show your growth and the hard work you've put in. But I think in general, it's proof that these sites like Fiverr, for example, works, and some of us are making a lot of money, and people are working their up the ladder. It's just a real nice thing. So we if you're interested, we'd love to have you over to VO's Journey Facebook group. Let's see, Brian. What's up, Brian? Good to have you. Larry says, got them. I used the last one on the list of templates. Cool. JB Music says, perhaps a bit tinfoil hat, but do you think they might favor promote people who utilize these? I guess there's not a great way to track that, but the thought crossed my mind. And listen, a lot of times that happens. Fiverr has done that sort of thing in the past, where they have pushed, the things that they've put out. I don't know. And we don't know if their algorithm faces a specific part. They have said over and over and over that you should have 20% or less of text on your image. They might actually scan for that. All right. The algorithm might actually scan for that. I don't know. I don't know if that's even possible. I don't know. But, that's something that I see a lot of people with great images, like great pictures, but 50 to 60% or 70% of the whole image is filled up with text. And Fiverr says a lot, like I said, a lot, and I've said it a lot, 20% or less of your gig image should have text. It shouldn't be more than that. So that means 80% should be visuals. Okay. I like to try to fill the 80% with as much as my face as possible. But, I would say that. And the thing about these, at least it gives you, you could change the colors, you can change the it just gives you different ideas, at least as, different ideas. You could change the graphics that go with it. Let's see. Carrie Ann, hi all from Canada. Hi, Carrie, welcome. Melissa says, the color and style of the VO templates is very similar to mine, which I created myself months ago. My branding is yellow. Cool. Yeah, and it could be, let's be honest, they hired these people. They might have went to, voice over these places and looked at what other people were doing, because I think I've seen some layouts of these as well. So that's a good point. Grant's, let's see. Grant's voice says templates, same sequence you had and see the same templates you did. Okay. So they're the same. Voices by Storm. I looked through the templates and they're fine to get ideas off of if you don't already. Yeah, I totally agree with that, Storm. I totally agree with that. I think they're great for ideas, great for moving around. And by the way, since they're all there, you could, use one, put it on another one, you can use those different ones. I do like the idea that they've most of them have a logo. Did you notice that? Most of them do have logos put in there as well, which I think is interesting. Let's see. Bill said he received them. Nice. Like and follow, Callie. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Nick says, great to watch as always, Anthony. We'll have a think about which templates to use. Can you vary them for different VO gigs you have? I'm looking to vary. Oh, absolutely you can. Absolutely you can vary them. Yes. And Fiverr wants you to. I personally try to use the same picture of myself, but with different filters. I have that black and white image of me that is kind of become really my logo in a way, because I use it everywhere all the time. And just after years of me posting stuff, it's just that picture and that picture, and it just goes and goes and goes. You know what I mean? But people seem to really like it. No matter where I put that picture, if I'm selling something, whether it's a voiceover or even voiceover products, for whatever reason, that gig image, that thumbnail layout works very well. And that's with your a picture of your face on one side that takes up, like I said, about 70-80%, and just a little bit of text on another side. You know what I mean? You don't need all the hoopla. But again, I think I got a good picture, of my face where it just, is black and white, and then it blacked out everything behind me. And that was from my cell phone. I got lucky. I really do think I got lucky with that picture. I took it in my car and I used a filter, and I didn't even know what it was doing. I was like, oh, what is this on my phone? And I tried, I'm like, whoa, that's really cool. And then I ended up using it for everything, and it turns out people really liked it. So in a lot of senses, I do feel like I lucked out. But, part of learning something is trying things and then seeing what people like and then duplicating those things, right? So I think you could definitely utilize stuff like that and utilize these, add different pictures, move around the stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Gary says super chat. Yeah, I don't know what's up with super chat. Grant's voice. Wonder if they felt overall that gig images were really bad, and if in 3 months 75% of the images will be the same. It might be, and I think that something that happened when a lot of the gig images, and I know a lot of people, we were trying to get better images, so people were purchasing, the similar types of images, or they were just purchasing them and they were growing, and there was a lot of similar ones, in which case they needed to be changed, but could possibly be it. And in which case, if it becomes stale and stagnant, you go to the next one. You mix it around. That's why I kind of will say that I like the ones that are really the headshots of those stand out to me the most. You know what I mean? That's about 70-80% your headshot. And then on the other side, there's just a little bit of text, like I say, Anthony Pica, I always put my name, always trying to put my name out there. And then I'll put like male voiceover, and that's like the only text I'll have, or Anthony Pica, IVR and voicemail or something like that, and then, but the headshot, and the ones that I like the most personally are the ones that have that, not all the other. But because you're trying to vary it, I always say test some of these out. We might find that there's a winner, or you might mess around with it and find there's a winner. And that's kind of what the name of this game is testing stuff out, trying new things, seeing what works and what doesn't work. And then you find things that don't work. That's great. Mark it off the list and try something else. Don't just stop thinking that it's not going to work. You know what I mean? Like something's not possible. Let's see. Henning, happy Fiverr Friday. What's up? Does it affect your stats if a client is asking for a revision, even though he's doing it to keep the window open before the autocomplete? You can't change anything, and it stays there. Wait, it says even though he's doing it to keep the window. Okay, so a couple things. One, just off the top of this, if someone requests a revision for you, you must respond and try to respond within the first hour. Okay, Fiverr does not publish this, but that is a criteria they look at, and the algorithm measures that. So you know how when someone asks, like someone messages you, all right, and you need to respond. Well, Fiverr views when someone requests a revision as well, or they make an order. Even though that is not public, we don't see that stat, Fiverr does look at it, and I got that from Fiverr and my dealings with talking to people from Fiverr and the Seller Plus program. So that is something important to note. Always make sure when there is some sort of exchange of information that is a change in the account, like a revision or a purchase or a message for the first time, you respond quickly to it. Okay, they view that as being important. Second part is that it does not affect you one bit if there is a revision request, not at all. And if it goes late, because sometimes that happens, I've seen very minimal. Well, first, right out the bat, I don't know to the extent how much it affects you the longer someone keeps it open. I will say that I have seen extreme cases of longevity with them being open that causes a lot of problems because it could end up being canceled. It looks really bad. Then it really screws up your stats. But I think that in general, a revision it doesn't affect you. And even if it shows up late and it's under revision, most of the time I've never seen any problem with that. You know what I mean? And I have had many people who have done that very thing that you're saying, which is they'll order something, they put it in revision just to even get it, like they're waiting for someone to review it, right? Themselves, like they're waiting for their business or corporate or their client to look at it. So they just keep it in revision so it doesn't go off. I often try to tell the person, hey, listen, I totally understand. I'm going to put it through. And just so you know, I mean, look at my account. I'm not going anywhere. I will, if there's a revision, we'll deal with it. Do you know what I mean? But it hurts my account if you leave it open. Now, again, I say that because I don't want to leave it open. I want it to close out and to move on, because the longer you leave it open, the longer we got to wait for it to go through. And they could, like, I've had people sometimes say, it's going to be like next week. I'm like, what? You know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. So I'll often put it through again and say, thank you. Just let me know when you're ready, because they're not actually asking for a revision. They're just saying they've got to wait till their client. And then you can also let them know that they have 3 days, right, before it closes out as well. Okay. And that they can always contact you, and you guys can always, do something. I find that some people, don't be afraid to be more open with the client that you're working with about the options that they have working with you through Fiverr. Meaning, like, if they close out the account, they can still message you and you can still do a revision. I will do a note. I will say a add on to that would be, do be careful though about doing work not through a gig though, or like a purchased gig, because a lot of times I've seen it working with people, voiceover actors, that sometimes I've seen some get kind of screwed over by a person saying, well, it was never delivered technically, even though they were delivering the work through messages. Right? It wasn't delivered through a job, so it didn't count when they were trying to say the job wasn't right, even though they were delivering through messages. But because it wasn't delivered through the job, it was like Fiverr's hands were tied. Now, I've not seen that happen very much, but it's just like you learn stuff along the way, and you see do's and don'ts. This is something that I was just telling you about. So yeah, I hope that helps. But don't be afraid to contact them and let them know, hey, when it goes late, it might affect me, and I'd like to put this through. But you get 3 days. Just notify me. We can put it in revision if we need to, or I can help you when you go. I mean, I've had people come back to me in like 2 to 3 weeks. Do you know what I mean? After it went through, and I still help them. I mean, we're not going anywhere. So I think that people just a lot of times don't know what to do. All right, let's see. Ada. Sorry, I hope I said that right. Ada, maybe. What's your opinion on those of us that go with a great headshot with zero text? So to me, I was looking at, I don't know, I think it was last week. Was it last week when we were doing it? And we were going through the British female voice artists. And there was the woman on the first line was just her photo, and I was like, to me, I was like, wow, that's stunning. You know what I mean? Like that was really like caught my attention right away. And this is what I'm going to say to you. I'm going to say to you, if you have a hunch, if you think it could work, go for it. Test it out. Do you know what I mean? See what happens. Give it a couple of weeks. Give it a month. Try it out. Don't change everything. You know what I mean? Change one and see what happens. I have done that very thing I'm telling you a lot. And it was back in the summer of 2018. I've told this story. You might have heard it. But basically, I went away for 2 weeks on vacation. And I put my account on vacation mode. And because I was gone for so long, when I came back, of course, my account was decimated. I mean, meaning like I was getting no traffic. I had to build everything back up again. And at that time, I mean, that was 3 years ago. I wasn't where I am today. So I wasn't a top rated seller. I didn't have thousands and thousands of reviews and stuff. So I was in a different place. So basically, I sat on I remember like a visual in my head, laid on the floor in my living room with my laptop computer. at the time. And I was like, I'm not leaving. It was over summer. I'm not, because I was still working at that time. I'm not leaving, this floor this summer until I figure out how to get some freaking work through Fiverr. Like, I was very upset because I was like, I've been working hard and building this thing, and I just got a new place. And so what I did a lot of was a lot of A/B style testing. I did it with gig images. I did it with copy. I did it with all sorts of things to try to find out what worked the best. Do you know what I mean? And I recommend you do that too, but don't change everything, especially if you're already getting business and you want to grow your business. Whatever you do, don't change everything all at once. Change one thing. If you're going to raise your prices, don't raise them by $50. Raise them by $5. Change things incrementally so you don't. Now, if you don't have any business at all, it doesn't really matter, does it? So, but we're all in different places. So I hope that answered your question. I recommend try it out, and I do think they're stunning if you've got a great picture. Remember, you need a great headshot too. So if you feel like you got a really great headshot that's going to stop people dead in their tracks and be like, wow, that's beautiful, or that's really interesting, or wow, I want to click on them to hear what their voice sounds like. Do you know what I mean? Then go for it. You know what I mean? But try it out. You never know. Just like with that picture I told you. Whoever thought of black and white? I mean, all you see is my face and my beard, and it's black and white, and people love that picture. I mean, maybe it's mysterious. When I say love, that's relative. People click on that more. people love it, and I'm not saying that, but you know what I mean. I seem to get more business than anything and any other thing than that particular one. Okay, let's see. JB says, I think your analysis is spot on the presentation of Fiverr. In many ways, sellers are the face of Fiverr, so it makes sense to want to promote on a more professional air. Yeah, absolutely. And when we think about what Fiverr is trying to do, right, because they know that the bigger businesses that come in, or they are competing with all these other platforms, and like you go on voices.com, for example, and the headshots on voices.com, if you go under that and you look at their top 100 list, it's like they're Hollywood actor headshots or something. I mean, they are beautiful headshots, okay, of these people, and you're like, wow, look at this, you know what I mean? So you see these things, and they're, Fiverr's competing against all of them. I mean, they might be at the top, but they're still competing against all of them, and then competing against us individually too, if we're out there trying to get work as well. You know what I mean? So, that's something that that they want to look as good as possible, and continually remove that stigma, even though their name is Fiverr, continually remove that stigma of low quality. Let's see, Grant's Voice, 20% on text. You can programmatically look for text in a JP, okay, and an image, a JPEG. That said, is that 20% of the space? So for huge words could take 22%. Yeah, that's good. Those are good points, Grant. And I wonder if it is that, or it's just the recommendation from what they know to be true. I don't know. Let's see. Facebook users say, if I didn't save the email, is there a way to look them up on Fiverr? Now, I got it through the messaging. You know what I mean? So I don't know if they sent everybody through the messages. But like I said, when I got the email, personally, it didn't work. Like, the email kept sending me to an error saying it was like I couldn't download anything. So, I don't know if they fixed that, if they, if I got an early email and it didn't work, then they sent me a message days later through Fiverr, and I downloaded it through that one. So I'm not sure on that. I would message them. Message Fiverr and let them know, Let's see. Joe Harris, wondering what my true VO voice is. Is that a crazy question? I struggle with that. Joe, that's absolutely not a crazy question. We all are either struggling with that now or have in the past. And it took me a couple of years. It could be faster for you, Joe, but it took me a couple of years, one, to get comfortable. I mean, I was an actor, a stage actor, and I did it my whole life. And then I was a director and an acting coach, and I've toured, I've worked professionally, and been for small audiences as well up to audiences of thousands of people at a time. So I mean, I have no qualms about getting up in front of people, but for some reason when I would sit or stand in front of a microphone, I got nervous, or not necessarily nervous, but more like uncomfortable, because I didn't know if I was doing it right or if it sounded okay. I was always searching for my voice, because, you know, people are like, you know, you got to find your voice. You know, like, what the heck is that? I mean, I'm talking with my voice. What am I looking for? But I think what I've learned over time, and a lot of it actually for me came through confidence of talking a lot, you know, with working with people, talk every single day, talking for hours and hours and hours through a microphone, you know, just getting comfortable with it, and then getting comfortable with playing around with your voice. Do you know what I mean? Also, another thing that was one part of it, right, is getting comfortable. But it took me years, and I don't want to scare you, but it took me time. And I have a BFA in theater. You know, I was a teacher. I mean, it's not like I've done a lot of speaking in front of people live, but not a lot of speaking through a microphone, you know, and it confused me to be nervous, because here I am, no one's in front of me. No one can see me, yet I still feel weird. I mean, there was even times where I would narrate and I would be out of breath. You know, I mean, like, what was I at being out of breath when I was narrating or talking? Or there would be times when, you know, I would narrate and I would do 2 or 3 different takes, and there would be 2 or 3 different people. It was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like, I'm like, what in the world? And then I would do different books. One book would be down here, and one book would be up here. And it was the crazy thing. And if you don't believe me, you just go back and go on Audible, all right, or Amazon, type in Anthony Pica, and you can listen to my stuff. From back in 2017 when I first started doing audiobooks. Those were the things I first started with. And I didn't put pseudonyms. By the way, here's a little side note. Use pseudonyms so people can't find you. Although I like being able to tell people to go listen to, because, you know, you listen to my stuff and you're like, oh my gosh, is that Anthony? That doesn't, because if you listen to my stuff now and everything I do now, you'd be like, oh my gosh, who is that guy? Right? That person needs some work. And they did. I needed a lot of work, and the work I needed was confidence in myself, and to be okay with, you know, the delivery, and to realize that people actually will like my voice. Like, people do like my voice. It's not for everybody, but there are people who like it. People do like a higher pitch delivery. Some people, a lot more people for me, like my lower pitch delivery. A lot of people like this type of delivery. You know, it's maybe there's something about it. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Like they like that kind of stuff. All right. Or an upbeat delivery, you know, hey, buy now, $9.99. Or just, you know, a corporate style delivery where we talk about certain things, and this is the way it is because this is the way I want it to be, blah, 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 right? Like, we have all these different things, and what I realized is being silly, but what I realized is that, thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that, Nancy. All right. Anyway, I'm a weirdo. But what I was saying is that I learned about the personas that we have, meaning that you are actually coming up with, on call, different parts of you. Do you understand what I mean? Like, the part of you that is serious, or the part of you that is upbeat, or the part of you that is the corporate sounding part of you, or the serious, or the part of you is the guy or gal next door, or the part of you that is philosophical. All these parts, and you might not have deliveries like that, in which case you have to come up with them. Okay? They are characters of you. Let me say that again. They are characters of you. When we think of characters, we think of, oh my God, I'm a character, something crazy like that. Or he's a character, it's a character, all these kind of crazy voices and stuff, right? But I think everything we do is characters, including using our voices ourselves without manipulating it, but a different type of delivery, a different type of energy. All right. You know what I mean? Different type of tone. And that takes time to build. So it's going to take you time to build that. And hopefully by me, I didn't understand what I'm telling you now. I wouldn't have been able to tell you years ago. I'd be like, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. But I'm telling you now that that's what I was searching for, and I didn't understand it at the time. But now I understand it. So I was able to find it. Now I can tell you about it, and it took me time to find it. And a lot of the time it took me to find it, like when I started my podcast. Perfect example, if you listen to a VO's Journey podcast, we have 208 episodes now. And when I first started back in 2018, I believe, the podcast, if you first started, I was, at that time, I was still working my full-time job, like I said. So I was going from like 10 p.m. until 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. And you can listen to the podcast, because when I first started, I was like, hello, this is Anthony Pica, welcome. Tonight we're going to learn about voiceover. Like, you could listen to it, you could tell. And at the time, that's not what I was attempting to do, but you could tell it sounds like I was either drugged or I was just exhausted, which I was exhausted. And that's it. But I didn't know how I sounded. Right. But as you listen to the podcast, you can hear in the podcast the development of my voice and my speaking voice and the dynamics, that changed over time. Which, is funny because it is about that journey, and so it made sense to call it a VO's journey. I wasn't going to call it a guy's journey, but a VO's journey, because it's all of our journey, through a path that we have to take. So anyways, I'm just on a pedestal right now, but hopefully that helps you. You are not alone. A lot of us are going through it now or have been through it in the past. And it takes time, confidence, but hopefully understanding that, we are characters of ourselves. There's different characters of us. It's not just us. Like, I don't go around, talking to people, like I don't go to my next, this whole, I wanted like your next door neighbor. I don't go to my next door neighbor and talk to them about buying, a lawnmower or we don't talk like that. You know what I mean? To anyone. So I think that's actually a falsehood. I think the idea was nice in the sense that, it was relax, be calm and be confident. You know what I mean? Don't try to sell something. Don't be like, hey, buy now. Not, the limited time sale. Come on down. None of that. So I get that, but I think we take it too literally. So don't take it too literally. No one wants to hear me talk and just shoot the breeze. That's not fun. No one's going to buy a voiceover from me if I'm just, if I'm just talking like no one wants that. People still want a presentation. They still want it to be interesting, but they want you. Here's the thing. They want you and yourself presenting something. They want the emotion they're asking for from you. And they want your experiences, your life experiences to come out with that emotion. So it is straight up acting. Okay? All right, I know I talked about that a while. Sorry about that. Let me go back up. Hopefully that helps you, my friend. Keep the fight. Keep the fight going. Carrie says, I was notified via the app message system too. Awesome. See, Facebook user found it in my messages. Good. Olaine says, hey, I'm new at this. What are split files? Good question, Olaine. So split files are basically whenever you take a file and you cut it and make a new file. So like, for example, let's say I'm doing a e-learning project and the customer sends me a PowerPoint, okay, with 10 PowerPoint slides, and they want me to narrate those slides and split them. Okay, split all 10 of them up. So that's what we call a split file. When you go through and you record all of that and then split those files up in those 10 different PowerPoint slides, for example, so that you could stick each audio file within that file, within that slide, if you will. So that's an example of what a split file is, okay? Good question. Sean for voiceovers, can you elaborate on format size for gig images? There are a lot of conflicting statements about which one is right. That's actually a really good idea. As I'm going back in here, I wonder if they've actually said anything in here about the size. They actually did not put down the type of size. However, the idea might be that the size in here is the correct size, like they made it, which case what you could do is go in here and see what type of, I'd have to go through here and format or something, or see the arrangement of it and test out what the actual like spacing is, you know what I mean? So I don't know. That's a really good question. I'd have to go in here and mess around with that. But traditionally, I always did 1920 by 1080 and then made sure that around the edges there was at least 180 pixels available. Okay. So that's what I traditionally do. But I'm assuming they formatted those correctly. I don't know. That's a really good question because I've not used them yet. So let's see. Steve Wilson says late to the party. What's up, Steve? Nancy says I started out as first soprano, and now I'm an alto. That's a swing. So I have a wide range of voice. That's awesome, and use it all, Nancy. Use it all. Absolutely. Thank you, Nancy. Scott says, I got an email for the templates, but hadn't clicked the link yet. I'm level 0 Fiverr seller with 7 gigs. Okay. Yeah. Check them out. Again, I mean, use one. If you're trying to get business, you're trying to get up and running too, use one. You never know. Joe says, confidence and comfort. Those are my problems. Thanks. You bet, Joe. Nancy says, when I'm excited, my voice is higher pitched. Me too. I remember when I was a little bit younger, I'd go through the drive-thru and I'd be like, I would say, they'd say, hello, welcome. I'd be like, hey, how's it going? They'd be like, what can I help you with, ma'am? And I would always be like, yeah, can I get a cheeseburger? I don't know how it's anybody else, but I would do that. And it's funny now because now one of my best-selling stuff is like, that deep male voice, that same, but when I get excited too, my voice gets up here, whee, that kind of thing. So I hear you. Let's see. Nancy says, coming from singing, it's easier. You know what? That's true, Nancy. I went to college on a scholarship for voice too. A lot of people don't know, as well as theater. So that's something that I had training all the way up through, high school and college for voice, as well as musical theater and things like that. So I will say the ability to manipulate your voice and to do it convincingly is very important. And understanding the melodic nature, a lot of times with voiceovers, there's beats and rhythms, right? Especially with philosophical stuff. A lot of video narration is about rhythm. It's about beats. It's about getting on that rhythm. Okay, that's something that is not easily taught quickly. Takes time, but you can learn it. Although some people don't have rhythm, I will admit I've learned that. But in general, it's the training. It is. Let's see. What up, Big Jim? What up, brother? Good stuff. Thank you, my friend. Jeremy. Holy macaroni. It's good to hear from you, man. I haven't heard from you forever. You were just tired. Laugh out. Your podcast is great stuff. Thank you, Jeremy. We got to catch up, my friend. I feel like it's been forever since we've talked. Let's see. Joe, good stuff. Thank you, Joe. Let's see. Meridian says, Is it Meridian or Meridian? Hopefully I said it right. I'm not sure. I apologize if I said it wrong. Hi, Anthony. I introduced myself during last week's live stream. The things you are talking about are over my head because I'm just getting started in VO and I'm building my studio. Talk soon. Okay, no problem. And you know what? That's a really great point that you make, that we all are at different places. Do you know what I mean? We're all in different places. We're all, learning the journey where we are. And I will say that, if you can get a coach, I coach, of course, I'm going to say get a coach, work with me. I'm going to say that, of course, because I want you to work with me. But, you want to find a coach that you relate to, that, you feel like, I'm not saying you have to be friends with the person that you work with, but, you want to make sure that you guys can mix enough, that you're going to learn from them and not be, PO'd at them all the time. I think that, because there's some people out there that, we just don't mix with. But, I wish you the best, and I'd love to talk to you whenever you're ready. Nick says, my voice is very announcer-esque. Years of speaking the Queen's English. Yeah, listen, there is, and by the way, just like anything, right? Anything in the world or history or time, we all know this. In nature, whatever goes one way always swings back the other, right? Whenever something goes right, it goes left. And whenever something goes left, it goes right. That's nature. That's reality, right? What's his name? what is it? Buckminster Fuller, the very famous architect or engineer, architect, inventor, said, real life is about, taking a step left and then correcting and taking a step right and then correcting and taking a step left. Right? Or, out on a boat in a sailboat, and you're going to the right and you have to, jibe your sails to the left or whatever, or move your sails back to the right, and he said the only straight line that you find is in school, and I love that because there aren't no straight lines in nature or the world. Okay. There's no straight lines in nature. So, with that being said, I think there's going to be a place for announcers. There is a place for announcers. They're still using them. I'm hearing them come back more. Okay, whatever goes one way comes back the other way. All right, sorry, that was went off on you on famous quotes from people. Great info, thanks, you bet. Let's see. Jason says response rate just went down a ton because I was responding to their messages in their order, not the messages part of Fiverr. Did it because in the messages the text box was Yeah, I will say, Jason, I understand what you're saying, and that sucks. I'm sorry. Yeah, you mean they ordered something and then you messaged them in the order, not the messages, but they'd messaged you separately through the messages, and you didn't. Yeah, I'm sorry. That happens to me too. I've got to make sure that if they message through the messenger, it comes up. Now, fortunately, it does show you if it's not messaged. If you didn't send the message, but I understand. Yeah, it sucks, man. Fortunately, it's only, I think it's 60 days. It's 30 or 60 days active. Meaning once it hits that, it'll go away. Do you know what I mean? And it's average. So as long as you keep answering on time, it should be fine. Jason says a link to the active gig. Oh, I got you. Nick says, thank you, Anthony. Hey, everybody. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your time. I'm sorry that the super chat wasn't working. I do appreciate you trying, though. Thank you so much. And thank you guys, as always. Make sure if you haven't done so, like, subscribe, and share if you'd like. And I will be back on Monday. And also, we've got a VO's Journey Elite group that I talked about a little bit. As always, love to have you. You can find the link below. You can also find it on VOsJourney.com. That's where we meet 2 times a week as a group. We go over how to build our businesses. Also, something too I didn't tell you is that I'm working now, getting closer to launching a VO's Journey Elite voiceover agency. So that's going to be really cool. It's not launched yet, but I'm going through a VO's Journey Elite group to be a part of that. So that's going to be exciting. And I'm working through that right now. It's not ready, of course, yet, but working on that because we got to get a website and everything. So, but anyways, I just wanted to mention that to you guys. Thank you so much. As always, you have a wonderful weekend. I'll talk more about that later in another video. Suspense. It's a good thing. All right. But anyways, have a good one. Talk to you guys later.